So what's up? How you doing today? We're going to take a look at triads and applying them right away to an easy G-C-D progression. I'm going to play along with the backing track, doing nothing fancy, just playing them so you can hear how they sound against it. I'm going to break down what it is, and I got that track without my electric guitar at the end so you can try it out yourself with your electric, your acoustic, keyboard, whatever you got. But first, let's give it a listen. So, first of all, what is a triad? We're not going to get into an in-depth thing on what that is right now, but it's simply a three-note chord. That's it, the building blocks of chords. So a triad meaning three, right? So when you play a G, those three notes right there. We've got, in this case, a fifth, a root, and a third. So a D, G, and B. And those are the notes that make up the G chord. And we have three versions for each triad. So we have this one right here, the root position triad, meaning the root, the G, the one is another name for it, is in the bottom. The first inversion, which the third, in this case B, is in the bottom. And the other two can be mixed around, doesn't matter what order they're in, but it's all about the third on the bottom. And then the fifth on the bottom, a D on the bottom. So those three shapes. And this one right here is the same as this, just open, right? When you play your G chord like that, which is what we're starting with. So all we need to know is three shapes for these three strings. When you play them on other strings, the shapes can change, but we're going to keep it simple and stick to just these shapes right now. So if you've got that shape for the G, then it's going to be a first inversion for the closest one for a C, just like playing your open C chord right here. And if you imagine that shape like this, but we don't need the open string there. Then we go up 2 frets for a D, but then we do need to close it up, so it's going to be this, different fingering, but the same visual shape. And then back to a G, but now a root position, right? So that's one close area. You can do this to get over a 1-4-5 in G, and this applies to any key. So the nice thing is these are all shapes and they're all sounds, and a key thing to getting this down sooner rather than later is to really notice how each one sounds and really feel how it sounds, and not just kind of be thinking about it like, ooh, from an intellectual standpoint of, ooh, the root, the third, this, that. Don't even worry about that stuff, but just notice how they sound. So like the G root position 1, or any root position, they're all the same, to me sounds very restful, and relaxing. Whereas the first inversion, it's the same three notes, but it sounds a lot more exciting. And part of that is because it's higher up, and anything that's going to get higher is going to kind of build a little bit of intensity, but it's also just the way the notes are laid out. So a common thing I might be doing is in a verse, play a root position, say on the G, or say it's the first chord, and then at the chorus of a song, if it's the same progression or still starts with a G, or whatever the chord is, I'll maybe play that first inversion of it, or the second inversion, and that, is the same chord, but it boosts up the energy, makes it sound a little more exciting. And it's a very simple thing to do once you get this under your fingers, and in your ears. So really notice how they sound, right, is the first thing. So we've got that one, right? The next one here is going to be starting with this one, then going here, which is part of this C shape right here, or the A form from the cage system. And then the 4 and the 5 is always going to be just 2 frets up, real easy. And then now to a first inversion G. And then from here, this one, the root position, which is also part of this E shape from the cage system. Again, 2 frets up for the D. There. And then we can repeat it if we want. If don't want to get way up there for an acoustic that might be a little too far. And that's it. So what you want to do is really get each of these little things, these four lines here, really down under your fingers if you don't already, and then start mixing and matching. So it's a kind of like a choose your own adventure. So maybe I'm up here and I'm going back down there, you know. Up here, you know. We don't have to go here, we could go, you know, and just notice how they all sound and how they weave together, and try it out. But don't worry about the other strings if you don't know this, or if you don't know the minors. Just stick with this now, really get it under your fingers, try it with the track, and you can start to expand upon it, do these little embellishments, do the minors, do other strings, and all that stuff. But it's always going to stay the same if it's in different keys. You know, if you're doing in the key of C, you have to just take this idea of like, okay, this one for G, right? If you're going to do in C, you don't have to even think about, oh, what's the other chord here? F, B flat, all this stuff, like whatever. Just these same shapes. And when you get really familiar with them, you'll start to play without even thinking about what's going on, and it just comes right on out. So try it with the track right now. If you've got your guitar, have fun with it, and I'll see you in the next video.